Hi, you're listening to The Sociology Show, a podcast about absolutely anything to do with the wonderful world of sociology. Whether you're a teacher, a lecturer, a student, or just taking a passing interest, this podcast will look at a range of issues from social class, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, religion, crime, education, and anything else that sociology has to offer. My name is Matthew Wilkin, and each episode I will speak to someone working in the field of sociology and let them explain all about their own interests, their research, and their experiences. So, put your earphones in, turn the volume up, and let's be sociology geeks together, eh? Hello and welcome to the Sociology Show podcast. My guest for this episode was the comedian Joe Wilkinson, talking all about living an alcohol-free, sober life. Before we get on to the interview, though, just a few messages from me. I am trying to increase my social media reach, and so there's a few things from your end that you could do for me. We do have a Twitter account, so if you do use Twitter and you haven't yet added, then please do look up the Sociology Show podcast. Got quite a few followers on there already, but that's been up and running a while. Please do add yourself on there. I've also set up an Instagram account. There's not much on there at the moment. But the idea is that each episode that's released, there'll be a little bit of marketing and you'll get a little message to let you know there's a new episode out. So please do add us on Instagram. Again, just look for the Sociology Show podcast. And then finally, the last thing that I've set up is a YouTube channel. The aim is that many of the interviews that I'm doing, we're going to record the video as well as just having the audio, and then I'll put the video out via YouTube. I'm aware that quite a lot of younger listeners don't necessarily listen to a huge number of podcasts, but they are much more likely to use YouTube as well. So just a few things there. Yeah, look up for the Sociology Show. You can find us on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube as well now. So without further ado, let's go over to the interview with Joe Wilkinson. Enjoy. Joe, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, cheers, Matt. How's things? Well, we've done this, haven't we? We've already chatted off mic.
Of course we have. It's all a front, isn't it? It's all false,
It
isn't
really
it?
is. Yeah, but yeah, we're just both excited about playing five-a-side later, aren't we?
That's true. Yeah, we're playing well six-a-side football in a couple of hours, aren't we? But
Six-a-side it is.
Joe, first question for you: have you done any sociology before? Did you do it at school, college, uni, anything?
No, never. No, wasn't an option at sort of secondary school, was it? No. My friend James, I was at college with, studied it, and I never bothered to ask him what it meant, if I'm honest. So I'm probably the least qualified person you've ever spoken to, Matt.
I was going to say, on that note, people are probably wondering why on earth have I got someone who doesn't know what sociology is on the show. So you've already mentioned...
I'm asking the same question.
You've already mentioned we play football together, so I'm lucky enough to know you in that capacity, and we've done the odd park run, and occasionally when the weather's nice, we jump in the sea. And it was during a sea swim last summer. You mentioned to me that you didn't drink alcohol. You haven't drunk alcohol for a while. That shouldn't be a big thing, right? Okay, that shouldn't be a big thing whether someone chooses to drink alcohol or not. But culturally, it's a bit of an anomaly to have someone, particularly of our age bracket, who doesn't drink, who doesn't go out for a beer. It really shouldn't be, but I thought it made for quite an interesting topic. So I wanted to chat away with you about that, if that's all right, Joe.
Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah, I did drink, but I stopped drinking like 15, 16 months ago. And it's funny how it's a thing. It's like, and to be honest with you, it was a thing for me, but because our society is quite heavily sort of socially, it's really is kind of the two things: drinking and meeting anyone you know.
Yeah,
they tend to go hand in hand. So it's a funny point we've got in culturally in our society where it's weird that someone doesn't drink. And that is an odd thing, and especially now on this side of the line, if you like, it's quite odd when people are surprised and stuff, and it just makes you more aware of it. It's an odd thing. Yeah, definitely.
Has there been any awkwardness? I mean, I've gone through periods myself not drinking and found myself lying. You know, I'm on medication, or I've got a 5 in the morning or something like that, which is ridiculous that I felt I had to lie about it. But I don't know if you felt any social awkwardness.
There has been awkwardness. There's I haven't done. I get why you've done that, where you've gone, it's just an easier thing, and especially if you go, I'm just having a a break from it, because that's a good thing to do as well. But it's weird that you have to lie because you're having a break. But because it's not something I intend to ever do again, I have to I feel like I've got to put the flag in the ground a bit and go, I don't drink. But we had the weirdest one. I think I mentioned it to you at the time. We went for dinner, me and my other half, who doesn't drink as well. And it was up in London. I can't remember what we've been doing. We've been to some show or something. And we just went for dinner, and the guy said, like, took our order and said, "What would you like to drink?" And I just sort of said, "Oh, I'll have a non-alcoholic beer." Do you have a non-alcoholic beer? And he went, "You're not drinking?" And I went, "No." And then my other half said, "Yeah, I'll have a non-alcoholic beer as well." And he went, "Oh, a bit weird, isn't it?" And like, we didn't know him from Adam. And like, he sort of like kind of, I'd say, it was bordering on taking the piss.
Yeah.
And we just both went, I think what I found odd about that is he doesn't know anything about me or my other half. He doesn't know what the reason for that could be. It could have been quite a struggle for us. It could be a health thing. Could be whatever. But the fact it was something that he naturally sort of took the piddle out of, I was like, oh wow. And it didn't anger me. It sort of annoyed me a little bit, because I was like, you don't know me. You don't know, there is no great story to me not drinking. It's just a decision I've made because of a couple of little things, really. But I might have had a history of alcoholism in the family or whatever, and you know what I mean. And I feel that he was a similar age to us. I feel like our generation have the biggest problem with it.
I agree.
I feel like the next generation are almost sort of revolting against what their parents have behaved like, if you know what I mean, at our age. Do you know what I mean? The sort of the younger people are going almost like that's what all generations do, going, our parents love rock and roll, so we'll do this or whatever. You know what I mean? I think our generation were big drinkers, so we'll go a different way. And I think, he was about 50 and was like, basically, a pair of odd bods.
I wondered if there's a parallel that probably for us, our parents' generation, certainly in generation before that, everyone smoked.
Yeah.
That seems quite similar there.
Yes, exactly. Like, if you think about smoking as well, it's very similar to drinking. It's very not good for you, and it had, there's a hell of a lot of health problems that come with drinking, as we know, as the same as smoking. So it's an odd thing to it's almost like, why don't you smoke 50 years ago? And you go, well, we've been proved that there's a bloody good reason why you shouldn't. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's like we're very good at burying the negatives of drinking. So it's only like, why don't you drink? So it's fun, and which I agree it is fun, but there's also downsides to it. So it's not madness to not drink.
This is probably me looking into it a bit more deeply from a sociological, psychological point of view. But I often wonder if there's projection. So when people say to you, "Why are you not drinking? Why are you not having a beer? Just have a beer." Is it because they're not, and the fact that you've got either the willpower or the desire to say no? Is there projection there?
Yeah, I would guess yes. I would definitely. Do you know what? Yeah, 100% actually, because there's this interesting thing when you give up drinking. And by the way, like it's really just where I am with it is it's not a very big thing in my life at all now, which is a really great place to be with not drinking. It's not something that I kind of not that I ever had a problem with not drinking, but it's so part of my life. It's like when I had a drink, you know what I mean? It's like you don't think about it; it's just part of your life. But you end up having two types of friends that basically kind of go on that change with you. So either moderate their drinking around you or go, oh yeah, let's just not drink and whatever, you know what I mean? And they're just like kind of find a middle ground with you. So they might still go out for a drink with them, but it's not particularly boozy. And then there's people that subconsciously completely cut you out of their life, really. And it's quite sad, because you go, oh right, they don't really want to see me because, you know, most of our friendships are social. Ours is a bit different because we play football together as a kind of bedrock of friendship, if you know what I mean. But a lot of friendships are based on meeting up, having a chat, and having a beer, basically. So that half of people go, oh right, I won't be able to have some. This is all subconscious, I think. I won't have a beer with because I'm with Joe, so I won't meet up with him, basically. And it's not deliberate, and I think it's because you're sort of probably highlighting something that they may need to do or cut down or make a slight change. And it's like kind of flagging it. I think this is me making my guess. So based on nothing, that's what I feel is going on with some people. And like, that's, you know, I don't know if any part of your life, sometimes you don't want to be reminded of something you need to do. Like I went to the dentist today and I was like, I haven't been to the dentist in years and now I've done it. I'm over the moon. I am. And oh, are you still there? Sorry.
I'm still here. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, my phone came through. I'm basically when my missus would go to the dentist, I'd be like, oh fuck, I've been to the dentist in fucking years, shit. And I didn't want to really discuss it because the quicker we weren't discussing it, the quicker I could lie to myself and say it's not something I need to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just what we all do, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I've had a similar experience to you. I always do dry January, which I get a lot of stick for some reason, but I don't do the whole big, I'm doing it, put it on social media, raise money. I just quietly get on with it. And if I order a non-alcoholic beer, because I don't mind it, it's quite nice to have a non-alcoholic beer. Got a lot better recently, actually.
Really? Well, that's a big eat that makes it a lot easier. Sorry, yeah.
No, but I've had people say, "Why are you drinking it? What's the point? If you're going to have a beer, have a beer. If you not, have something else." And it's just like, well, if I want to, it's up to me, isn't it? You know. But that's got to be quite a. I'm convinced it's quite a British thing. That.
Yes, I think it is. I think there are similar countries with a similar outlook, which is like Australia and places like that. I think they have a very similar kind of drinking culture. But then you go to France or somewhere. I remember we went to France a few years ago, some friends, and we were sort of young and kind of decided to be in the bar for a few hours. And we were going, God, French people come in, have one drink with their friend and leave. We almost laughed.
Weirdos.
Like look at them not going to be feeling ill tomorrow. And but like with that, sorry, again, with the beer thing, like, oh my God, this person will not stop phoning me. Sorry.
Someone's dropped out of football. That's what it is, Joe, you know?
yeah, exactly. They're making their excuses already. Sorry, that's what you said. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So like with the beer thing, I have some kind of stuff from when I was drinking that I still like to do. Like I like to have a beer and watch the football. And I have a non-alcoholic beer because I like to do it. Like I like the taste of it. I like something about doing it for so many years has left an imprint on me that I like to. I don't like to have a glass of wine when I watch the football. I don't like to have a Coca-Cola when I'm watching the football. I like to have a beer. So those things go hand in hand for me, rightly or wrongly. So now I have a non-alcoholic beer, and I really like that. They still go hand in hand, and it doesn't have to, you know, get me sloshed or whatever. You know what I mean? Or get me tipsy. It's a nice thing to do, and they are nice tasting, and I just like I like the act of doing it. Do you know what I mean?
There's almost a ritual to it.
Yes.
I'm not drinking because it's January at the moment. I went to the pub near you actually, which sells it on draft. Sells a beer.
Which yes. Was it Lucky Saint or
Lucky Saint? A good companion.
Yeah, it's great. It's really good beer.
It's good. Yeah, but there's something about having it in the pint glass, you know, on draft.
Definitely
makes a difference. Certainly.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's something from our culture of the last, you know, how many years I've been an adult. It's nice that, like, I like the fact there's like you say, non-alcoholic beers that are kind of draft over a proper pint, and that's what I feel cozy doing. And to sort of say, what's the point? You go, well, is the point to get drunk then? That's what you're kind of saying, countering that, aren't you?
Yeah.
If you're not getting drunk, why are you doing it? You go, well, why have one then? Or why have one or two? Do you have to have four? That seems an odd sort of argument once you've stepped back and think about it, like I am now, being sort of someone who doesn't drink. You go, bloody hell, do we have to? Is that where we are? We have to do it until we're a bit all over the shop. That's weird, isn't it?
But I think people do. I think a lot of people do drink to get drunk.
Absolutely, and we've all done it, and we've all been there, and it's all been part of our ritual, our weekly ritual. Do you know what I mean? Finish a hard day on a Friday, get drunk to have a laugh, but then you're kind of writing off Saturday. You only get 2 days off.
Yeah,
it's
true. It's true. I was going to make a joke about you're a brave man to watch Gillingham sober. That is too obvious.
To be fair, there have been some testing times.
Can I rewind all the way a little bit? Because I'm quite interested in your kind of journey. Is quite an overused word, isn't it? Phrase. But do you remember your first drink? You grew up in Kent, didn't you? Do you remember your first kind of your first trip to the pub or your first drink in a pub, whatever it was? Yeah,
I do. Like it was, obviously being sort of 16 or whatever. It was really about finding. Well, my friend's daughter's going through it, is now finding the pub that will serve underage. It's such a weird thing. We literally talked about it last night. We walked past the pub, like a really horrible pub, and she's like, "Oh, that's where they don't ask for ID." Blah. So that was a big thing. I remember kind of not really liking the stuff. It's like that's the mad thing. You have to work at it. What weird, you know what I mean? You go, like, this stuff's piss. And you just go, that's what we do. All right. You know, it takes you like a year or two to develop a taste of it. And it was like I remember I had a Guinness and then I nursed it for about 3 hours because the stuff's disgusting to me. So I was like, well, that's a terrible decision. But I really wanted to look like I knew what I was doing. Like everyone has a lager, don't they? So I was like, I'll have a pint of diesel, please, mate. And stuff. I've never had one since. So that was my first. It's still probably sat there.
I did the same. The pub that would serve us, like yourself, that everyone knows the pubs when they're at age that would serve it. No, I just looked at the taps and just went Stella. I mean, what a ridiculous first lager that is.
In for a penny.
Exactly.
The Sociology Show podcast relies on the kind contributions of sponsorship and donations. If you enjoy the show, then you can help with the hosting costs by donating as little as £5 on the GoFundMe page. Simply visit uk.gofundme.com and search for The Sociology Show. If you can donate, then you will be sent a Sociology Show pen as a small thank you for your continued support of the show.
What kind of drink were you, if that makes sense? Were you one of those ones, till the end of the night blackout, or were you, take it or leave it?
Like it was weekend drinking, and probably kind of should have stopped two ago, and now you feel shit in the morning.
Yeah,
that was it really. Like I could take it or leave it, as in like it never would affect any part of my life. It never came first. Like I've spoken to a friend of mine who's having some problems, and he told me some stuff which is quite shocking. Like he basically would put it first, almost like you would put your family first or something. You know what I mean? It was like, but it was always like I was always up for going to the pub, and then it would be like, why didn't we leave at 9:30? Why did we leave at 11 when we could have? We would have not had a headache in the morning. And one of the main reasons I gave up was I remember this. I was talking to someone about it the other day. Drinking gave me anxiety the following day, and I just thought that was something you had to live with. I remember getting it in my late 20s. I remember saying to my friend, because I remember so clearly, because I just bought my flat and it was like a really amazing thing that I'd done. I'd saved up for this flat. I'd worked really hard to buy a flat, and my dad was over every weekend. He was in South London, over every weekend, helping me paint it, and I was really excited. But I was just waking up going, "Okay, no, I'm really down." And my mate went, "Oh yeah, the old, black dog, the old Winston Churchill thing." I was like, "What?" He goes, "Oh, it's the black dog. It's just what booze does to you. It just makes you feel like shit the next day, like." And then you just live with it for another 20 years. You go, okay, so you'll have a degree of anxiety in the morning. And I was like, well, that's mental. Like if you're someone like me who kind of goes, you just go, God, I feel shit. Like I'm thinking negative thoughts, which I don't have most of the time. And I'm waking up going, life's shit or whatever. And you go, you can stop that.
Yeah.
You can stop it like that. And I did. And that was my main thing. I just like to be, I don't want ups and downs. I want nice, gentle middle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm happiest. And I think everyone who gives up, if they're like me, has the same thing. I've spoken to people, they go, yeah, it's great. I'm just generally happy. I don't have oh God, okay, cool. Shit, I hate my job or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like, no, yeah, I can get on with stuff. It's fine.
It's amazing, isn't it, that we're all aware that it can do that. We all are aware of the hangovers. Everyone in their life who's drunk has probably said, "Oh, never again," but they still do.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's such a bedrock of our society. When you add all of those things up, the cost as well, it is strange that it's still pretty much the British pastime, if you like.
Yeah, I went through a phase of being quite cross about it, actually. Like, because we all have fallen under its spell, the sort of the myth that it's okay, really.
Yeah.
And we all pass on to the next generation. It's just what you do. Here's your first pint. This is the first time you get pissed. You laugh it off. It's just a rite of passage. And then, there's some proper casualties to booze. And we all know them, you know what I mean? And it's not, I don't know, we haven't demonized any area of it. And, I feel like a hypocrite because I was like part of the, like everyone else, just burying my head in the sand. But, it shouldn't be, in my opinion, someone's 18 getting pissed. I just don't think that's what we should be teaching our children, really.
You wouldn't do it with another drug, would you? You wouldn't say, "Here's your first line. Let me inject you your first
because we've demonized those, haven't we? And we haven't demonized booze because it's, there's a lot of tax.
Yeah.
We pay a lot of tax on it.
Yeah.
And it's just, we're at the point where we go, the strain it puts on people's health and we're basically putting people, I feel very preachy. It's only because it's annoyed me just in my over the last year or so. But yeah, we put people, and I've done it, and you've probably done it.
Yeah.
Friends, little brothers and sisters. You're 18, you've got to get drunk, and we just that then gets passed on and on and on and on until, and there's just there's a lot of people who end up with health problems and addiction and all that sort of stuff, and then you go, oh, that's bad. You go, yeah, we're all part of the fucking problem.
Yeah,
we all allowed it to happen because we didn't know any better,
or maybe we did know better.
Yeah, but when you're 18 and everyone's going, it's just what you do. I don't think many of us had a lot of common sense at 18. I didn't. I was just like, that seems all right. But I knew very well, like, if I touched drugs or whatever, my mum and dad would be so disappointed at me. You know what I mean? I was like, that was something I'd hide from them. But I didn't need to hide my drinking. You know what I mean? If I came in, I could come home drunk. I couldn't come home high as a kite because they were like, oh my God, drugs are terrible. But booze is all right.
Yeah, it's the socially acceptable addiction, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's weird when you really think about it. It's like we've just chosen one.
Yeah,
could easily have been cocaine.
It could well have been. It's something that you said, Joe, which really interests me. Is a lot of people kind of, I'm doing dry January. A lot of people try and have a few months off the booze, but I think I'm right.
you said you probably won't drink again, or you don't think you will drink again.
No.
I'm really interested how, one, you can be so definitive on that, because I think that's so admirable to be able to say that. And two, if there was anything else behind that decision.
I'm adamant for a couple of reasons. One, because I really, really believe it, but also I want to put it out there as a sort of promise that I have to keep, if you know what I mean. So subconsciously, I'm probably doing that. If I'm honest, I'm going, no, I'm making a promise, not just, like I'm going, I'm not going to do it. So if I do, I've got further to fall, if you know what I mean. I think there's some of that, but also just because I'm happier, I'm much, much happier. So at the moment, I can't see why I would. It's like meeting the person in your dreams and going, I wonder if I might split up with them.
Yeah.
You go, what? Why?
Yeah.
But they really like you and you really hit it off. You go, yeah, but I can't say I won't. Well, no, you can't say you won't because you don't might change, but be mad to go, that woman you absolutely love. I'm not saying I won't split up. But put all your eggs in that basket.
Yeah.
Say you want to be with that person, you know what I mean? And that's all you want. It seems mad to hedge your bet. And that's what I feel with drinking. It's like just at the moment and moving forward, I just can't see why I would have a drink.
Has anything replaced it, Joe? You said it made up a big part of your life. It's probably your Friday night. It was your Saturday at the football or whatever. Do you feel that you've put something in place rather than going to the pub, as it were?
Yeah, definitely. It's life is more about. It sounds really negative, and I hope this doesn't put people off. But life's more about before 10 o'clock than after 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of things in my life that I do that but just the timing of them changed. I do a lot more sort of, none of there's no way of saying this. It sounds without sounding, my life is really boring, but it's not. But it's just like, I'll go and do stuff. Like on holiday, we went to Venice and we just did everything you could possibly see in Venice in 5 days. And we probably, the days were really, really busy. We saw loads of stuff. Then we'd have a meal with a couple of non-alcoholic drinks or whatever. And then we were home by 9:30. And then that was kind of the end of the day. But the day would start later, wouldn't it? If you'd been out in the evening. But I can't help but feel that makes it sound terrible. It's not. I just feel more fulfilled, if you know what I mean. It's like, it's just the timing. The timings all shift down 2 or 3 hours, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, it's interesting you say that because you used the word boring. But I was listening to a psychologist the other day who had like a chart of happiness.
Right.
And people go through a period where they're much more anxious and much more depressed and a little bit low. And something happens between 45 and 60 where their happiness jumps up. And his conclusion was actually that people find happiness in the mundane, in the mundane. And he said,
I definitely have.
Well, remember when you were a kid and like you'd be out with your grandmother or something and she'd stop and go, oh, look at these lovely flowers. And you're like, that sounds like a boring comment. Yeah. But you will find happiness in, a sunrise, a sunset, a dip in the sea, a flower, whatever it might be.
Yeah. I definitely feel that. I also feel like you want to kind of go, well, when did I, you didn't always appreciate it. Like I went to college in Bristol for 3 years and we go back now because Petra's got family there. So my wife, I mean, and I was going around going, look at these buildings, they're stunning. And I was like, I don't remember any of this. And I was like, I literally just love walking around parts of Bristol going, this part's beautiful. Look at these, and they just passed me by.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's just bizarre that, I definitely have felt that kind of just little things are great. Like I do the park run thing. We went up to Bevendine on Saturday. It's just like going, what a lovely part of Brighton it is. It's like really high up. You get views. It's very it's very community spirited around there. They've got the Bevendine pub and all that. And I was like, God, it's great around here. Like, I was like, just really sort of like felt in a really good mood for hours afterwards because I sort of dropped into this community for an hour. You know what I mean? Going, oh, what a lovely place to spend a couple of hours. I did the run and the park run and then had a cup of tea in the local cafe. I was like, I don't ask much out of life.
No, it's simple pleasures, isn't it? Simple pleasures.
Yeah.
I mean, as we said right at the top of the show, you and I play six-a-side football on a Monday night. And it's not a great standard. It's a load of wheezy old men kicking a ball around. But I don't know about you, Joe, but I love it. I get so much pleasure from that.
I did a podcast. Michael Fenton Stevens, who is one of my favorite actors. He does a podcast called Time Capsule, and you have to put like 5 things in that you love into this time capsule. It's the idea of the thing, and on one of them I put his 6-a-side on a Monday.
Yeah,
because I was like, we're very lucky. We've got a very nice group of lads. It's competitive, but I described it as someone a few months ago. It's like when someone has a tumble, everyone stops and goes, "Oh God, you're right."
Yeah,
but it's like really competitive, so it's fun, but really nice bunch of lads, and I really look forward to it. And I don't gig on a Monday night. I just won't.
Yeah, that's your priority sorted there.
Yeah. I'm like, it's little things like that in the last, not to do with not drinking. It's just getting older. It's like I feel part of my routine now is going, no, that's good for me. I want to do stuff that I like, that is just good for me. You know what I mean? Good for my spirit and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's like not just, work, because I worked really hard for the last 20 years, I guess. And because like working for yourself, it's just comes with a strain, I think, because you're just thinking of the next, is it the last time I'm going to work and all that. And I'm trying to teach myself to go, no, this is what you need. You need this. You need a bit of stuff that is going to, make you happy and, your life's better. And that's something I'm working on, actually, going, no, that's more important to, I've had to sort of get myself out of that mindset that got me to be able to work for myself. I have to then kind of come out of that mindset, if that makes sense, to kind of enjoy it again.
Yeah. I wondered if gigging, working in stand-up, that is an environment where you probably get a pint shoved at you, don't you?
Do you know what? I saw an interview with a boxing promoter, and he said something that was like really sort of resonated with me. He was like, a lot of his business life and social life cross over, and it can add up. And I was like, yeah, it did, because you could kind of like, you can have a beer. Like, it's a weird job. It's like if you're doing stand up a lot, you can have a couple of beers and it's not frowned upon. You can't be a
I'm a teacher,
coach.
so I better not do that.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be hauled into the office, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Like you're having a couple of pints at lunch or whatever. But yeah, so it's easy to kind of become a grey area. You know what I mean? And then he was just made himself aware of it, and I thought that's true. It's like quite easy to go, well, part of your habit is, part of your routine of doing a gig is having a pint. Well, if you're doing 4 or 5 gigs a week and then you're socialising, that adds up, doesn't it?
That does add up, yeah. It does add up.
So I just thought that was interesting, and not something I'd ever thought about until, like, that wasn't part of my giving up.
Yeah.
But I was like, I think you just become more aware of it when you step outside, because you can. Let's be honest, you can, because you just go, right, I've done the hard bit. Let's look at you haven't got you can kind of go, that's where you can talk in the past tense.
Yeah.
You can go, oh yeah, we're having 5 drinks at gigs, like over a week, you have 5 drinks, that's a lot. But when you're doing it, you have to make that change off the back of it. Whereas I've made the change. So all of this I'm talking to you, Matt, is like, it's really easy to say, after the event, if you know what I mean. It's like, oh, this is all hindsight. This is all. That's why I feel a bit of a fraud, because I've made all these mistakes. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's all mistakes and cock ups that I've done like everyone else. So I'm not wise or clever in any way. I'm just like going, yeah, I did it for ages.
No, I think it's amazing, Joe. And like I said, the one thing that really stuck in my mind is where you said I won't drink again, because I think that's to make that decision and see into the future and say, that's me done. I've had enough of it. I think that's amazing.
Well, thank you. I don't think, I don't feel it's amazing. I just feel it's like just what's right for me, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I know I said it earlier, but it's a funny one talking to you, because maybe if I spoke to you a year ago, I'd have probably spoken maybe more passionately about it.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, don't know, it's like talking about, I don't know, eating cheese or something.
Yeah,
it's just like
it's your normal, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like, oh right, yeah, maybe I should have done this a year ago, because I would have probably been going through more stuff.
Yeah.
Not that I had a lot of problems with it, but it was more like I was more aware of it. Now I'm just plodding on going, oh yeah, no, I don't drink. Yeah. Anyway, what are you up to?
That's great. Well, Joe, thank you so much for joining me. I'm just aware of time because we've got to eat dinner before getting ready for six-a-side football. So
yeah, and then we go to battle.
We go to battle. So
yeah, and I think your listeners need to know that you're an absolute pain in the arse to play against. You've got an instinct in front of goal that winds me up beyond belief.
Is that a diplomatic way of saying that I'm a goal hanger, Joe?
I might just say it, but yeah, an eye for goal / goal hanger.
Yeah. Defending's not part of my game. That put it that
way. You and Alex,
and
Alex are spoken about in the same breath.
That's it. Right, Joe. Thank you very much for your time today. I really enjoyed the chat as well. It's
me too.
Really, and for you giving up your time as well. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, mate.
All right, take care. See you soon.
Take care, mate. Bye.
Cheers. Bye now.
The Sociology Show podcast relies on the kind contributions of sponsorship and donations. If you enjoy the show, then you can help with the hosting costs by donating as little as £5 on the GoFundMe page. Simply visit uk.gofundme.com and search for The Sociology Show. If you can donate, then you will be sent a Sociology Show pen as a small thank you for your continued support of the show.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to the podcast. If you would like to contact the show or be interviewed, then please email thesociologyshowpodcast@gmail.com.